Hello everyone and welcome to week 12 of English 120. I hope you guys are doing all right. I know we're living in very strange times and I'm really proud of the hard work you guys are putting into the parts of your research paper. So as usual, I'm encouraging you to please watch our lecture. This is like our classroom experience. Remember, I'm also here to work with you one-on-one. Just send me an email so we can set up an appointment. Now this week, I'd like you to continue drafting your body paragraphs. You should begin drafting the third subtopic, which you didn't turn in. But I'd also like you to focus on writing your introduction, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. There is information in in chapter 14 on drafting, pages 239 to 243 in the Bedford Researcher. Your introduction will be due next Monday at 11:59 p.m. Our research module this week focuses on academic ethics, and the quiz will be due by 4:27 as well. And then we're going to continue reading in Whose Names Are Unknown. The book's really, for me, this is where the book really takes off. I know that it was dramatic the end that we read before last week, but now the families have reached the camps in California, and we get to see what it was like where Sonora Bab worked. So at Weed Patch. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and it's a place where you can draw a direct parallel to how John Steinbeck depicted these camps in The Grapes of Wrath. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to that part of the lecture. So let's go and talk about your research projects. There are 5 weeks left, including this week. Yay, you guys, final stretch. This week we're going to work on writing introductions. Your introduction is where you're going to grab your reader and really make them want to read your paper. Now, granted, I have to read your paper, but you want me to be excited when I'm reading it, right? You want me to feel your passion on the page, okay? So this week we're going to work on introductions. Next week we'll move on to the conclusions and flow, and then you'll work on getting it all put together into a draft by the following week. And we will have conferences, so start thinking about times that you have where you can speak to me live and we can go over ways to improve your draft. And then week 15 is going to be a self-review and a peer review. And then week 16 is going to be your final draft. Just a reiteration of the basic structure of the research paper. Now remember, we already worked on our body paragraphs. Those are the 3 to 6 paragraphs. We did 2 of them, right? 3 to 6 paragraphs in the middle of your paper where you introduce each subtopic and you argue for that subtopic and show how that subtopic proves your thesis. And you do so by using evidence or quotations from all of the sources you've found. Then you're going to, after giving that evidence, you're going to relate back to the thesis. So you've already built those. Now we want to start working on your introduction. So this is where you're going to begin with a hook, and I'll talk about that in a second. You're going to introduce the history of your topic and kind of give context to why you're talking about this particular issue within this topic. Why is it important? And then you will state your thesis at the end of those 1 to 2 paragraphs. Remember, next week we're going to move on to talking about writing a conclusion and also how to create flow in your paper. Also stated here are the counter arguments. Now these are the other side of the argument, and you really want to make sure that you include that as part of your paper. We will also be talking about that next week, okay? Finally, you're going to include a works cited page. That's where you're going to provide citations, not citations with annotations like our annotated bibliography, just the citations. So that's the last name of the author, comma, first name, period, the actual address of the book, okay? So your introduction is going to be worth 25 points. It should be 1 to 2 paragraphs long, and you should remember that a paragraph is at least 7 to 12 sorry, not paragraphs, sentences long. You're going to begin by grabbing your reader with a hook, and I'll be going over that in a second. But a hook is basically you begin with a quotation that you've introduced, or a question that opens up your reader to thinking, or an anecdote that sets the mood for the paper that you've written. You really want to write that hook last, like after you've finished all your body paragraphs, to know what is the tone you want to set, okay? Then you're going to introduce your topic. You're going to define it. So what is child labor? What is climate change, right? And then provide a history of your topic. So what's happened, what happened the day of the 1906 earthquake, and how has this affected how people respond to earthquakes differently to this day, right? I want you to frame your argument, right? Why have you chosen this particular aspect of the argument? And then clearly state your thesis. Make sure your thesis is in top shape. And remember, I am available to talk to you about your thesis, and so is the Writing Center. And they have live Zoom meetings that you can set up with them, okay? Or Smart Thinking is also available. And remember, you can go over this again in pages 239 and 243 in the Bedford Researcher. So let's talk a little bit about what a hook is. So your introduction should have a strategy. So what tone do you want to start your essay with? And the hook is really what establishes that tone. So if you're trying to change your reader's mind about a controversial topic, you'll likely want to shock or impress the reader with a fact that reveals the impact of your issue. So say you're talking about climate change. You want to give us like the most shocking fact that sets up why this is an important issue, okay? Not just climate change affects us all, right? That's just a generalized statement, and it doesn't grab me at all. It's like, okay. But if you said if we don't do anything about climate change, our planet will be we will not be able to live on our planet after 2050 or something like that. That would grab my attention, right? Especially if you cited a source that you got it from, right? A scientific source. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you're introducing a new topic or idea, your reader might want to set the scene by giving an anecdote or a story, okay? There's different types of hooks that you can use. You can define a problem, right? So this is if your research has led you to propose like a solution to a problem. You might begin by documenting that problem, okay? And there's an example in our book where they use this example as defining a problem. Almost daily, headlines and newscasters tell us about athletes' use of performance-enhancing drugs. Indeed, stories of such drug use seem to increase each year, with investigations of possible steroid use by college football players, by Major League Baseball players, and even by Olympic gold medalists. It is easy to gain the impression that many adult athletes, particularly males, may be using drugs in order to improve their performance and physical appearance. What may be surprising and even shocking to most of us, however, is that these drugs, especially anabolic steroids, are increasingly used by adolescent athletes, and that girls are as likely as boys to be users. Now, by setting up, this is a background definition of the problem, setting up why this author has decided to focus in on steroid use among female athletes. You can also make a surprising statement, okay? This is a way by telling the reader something they don't already know, right? So here is an example. What is the most common cause of hunger in the world? Is it drought? Locusts? Crop diseases? Nope. Most hunger in the world has absolutely nothing to do with food shortages. Most people who go to bed hungry, both in rich and poor countries, do so in places where markets are filled with food they cannot have. So that's a surprising statement, right? That sets up an issue. You could ask a question, right? This invites your readers to become participants in the conversation right away, okay? What role is competitive sports playing in this dangerous trend? Why are some girls feeling the need to ingest performance-enhancing drugs? So this could be a question that's added to the definition of a problem, right? You could tell a story. Everybody loves a story, right? Especially if it's told well and it has a point to it, okay? So this is a possible story to introduce a topic. Ask preschooler Zane Pike to write his name or the alphabet, then watch this 4-year-old's stubborn side kick in. He spurns practice at school and tosses aside workbooks at home. But Angie Pike, Zane's mom, persists, believing that handwriting is a building block to learning. She's right. Using advanced tools such as magnetic resonance imaging, researchers are finding that writing by hand is more than just a way to communicate. The practice helps with learning letters and shapes, can improve idea composition and expression, and may aid fine motor skill development. Okay, so the story leads up to the issue. Okay, you could provide a historical account, right? This helps your reader understand the origins of a situation and how the situation has changed over time. So here is an example. On February 21st, 2000, the People's Republic of China shocked the world with its release of the white paper, the One China Principle, and the Taiwan Issue. In this 18-page document, the Chinese government outlined its case that, in keeping with the One China principle to which the United States and Taiwan had allegedly agreed, Taiwan is the rightful property of the People's Republic of China, and revealed that it intended to use force if Taiwan did not move to reunite with the mainland. So that tells a historical account that leads to the issue that's being argued. You can draw a contrast as well. This asks your readers to begin making a comparison, okay? So here is a contrast example. To most Americans, the word cocaine evokes images of illegal white powder and those who abuse it. Yet the word has a completely different meaning to the coca farmers of South America. You can lead with a quotation. This is often a very popular way to do it. One really important fact, though, is if you lead with a quotation, A, quotation needs to be very strong. B, you need to, after the quotation, you need to say who says it and establish why they're an authority, okay? You can't just stick a quotation in. So here's an example. Quote, without a few lucky breaks, we'd still be bagging groceries at Albertsons, end of quote, says lead singer Ricky Jackson of the recent Grammy-winning band Soft Affections. So those are some strategies to setting up your hook. Remember, you want to choose one that works for your paper, okay? So this week we're going to, like I said, whose names are unknown, it's really getting exciting. So they are at the camps. We're going to be reading chapters 25 to 30. A lot of dramatic things happen. And again, you're going to be assigned one of the chapters. Please read all the chapters because you will be expected to be able to speak to all these chapters when we do the final at the end of the semester. Okay, your final is based on whose names are unknown. So chapter 25, I want you to think about how the landscape has changed in this section. So now they're in California. And I'd like you to, you get introduced in this chapter to the Federal Emergency Migratory Camp. Remember, these are camps that were operated by the Department of Agriculture and the Farm Security Administration. And these, Sonora Babb, who wrote our novel, worked in the camps when she took notes for this book. She worked at Weed Patch, which is in the Central Valley. Chapter 26 talks about a very difficult birth that happens in the camps. And what's important to pay attention to here is the idea that, unlike in The Grapes of Wrath, where the Jode family is kind of doesn't have agency as much. They don't get to be in control of not that these characters are not like Milt is in control of whether he gets work or not, but in this situation, you see everyone doing things and being active and trying to help the situation. I want you to pay attention to the end of this chapter and tell me why you think she ended chapter 26 so poetically. So it ends with this kind of lyric poem. And I want you to think about why Milt is thinking that in the end. Then you're going to read 27, which is a shorter chapter, 28 and 29. All of these are shorter. And then 30 is the shortest one ever, okay? That's going to get us through to page 162. All right, I want you to be thinking about this book as a whole as we continue to read. And please introduce, I'm purposely not giving you graphics and things like that so that you can give them back to us. And you're doing a great job in these discussions, so please keep up the good work. Your initial post is needs to be posted by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. And then your responses to your peers, at least 3, need to be posted by Monday at 11:59 p.m. Finally, you will be completing another online research unit. This is called Academic Ethics. Sorry, again, I didn't change it on the slide. You're going to be thinking about it is a complementary one to the plagiarism unit, but it goes even deeper. So you're going to read selections from chapter 9 in the Bedford Researcher, and then you're going to read the fallacy of quoting out of context. And then you're going to watch 2 videos, research writing, why research matters, and then research writing, citing sources. And then you'll take the research quiz on academic ethics by Monday, April 27th. All right, guys, that is it for this week. As always, please let me know if you have questions. I will be trying to get your work back to you quickly. Just be patient, knowing that I have so many students online right now, but you are very important to me and I want you to learn this process. So please know that if you have questions, please email me, and if I don't respond right away, you're welcome to email me again. Okay? Take care, and I'll see you guys online.